Yo, what's up everyone? My name's Scotty, and welcome to The Hidden Arc. This is our very first video on the channel, and I'm hyped to kick things off with you guys. Today, we're jumping straight into the madness of One Piece episode 1127. Kizaru's throwing out crazy light attacks, Luffy's in full gear 5 going absolutely wild, my guy's out here eating lasers and swinging Kizaru around like he's a toy. Meanwhile, Zoro is throwing hands with Rob Lucci, and Egghead Island is turning into a straight-up battlefield. It's chaos, it's hype, it's One Piece at its finest. Let's get into it. Alright guys, the episode kicks off with Luffy in his Gear 5 form, and things get absolutely wild. He grows giant and grabs Kizaru like he's a doll. Luffy starts swinging Kizaru around like he's at an amusement park ride, treating him like a rubber toy. Kizaru, in his usual calm and slow voice, is shouting, "Whoa, whoa, Luffy, go easy on an old man like me." But Luffy, he doesn't care. After a quick laugh, Luffy decides it's time to toss Kizaru right out of the island, sending him flying like he's a paper airplane in the wind. Classic Luffy, what a way to start an episode. After Luffy sends Kizaru flying out of the island, the scene shifts to Brook, who's still trying to process what just happened. With a wide grin, he exclaims, "I finally got to see Luffy's new form with my own eyes." But then, in true Brook fashion, he suddenly realizes, wait, I don't have eyes. He pauses for a moment looking baffled before continuing with, "You know what? That shocked me to my core." And just as quickly he adds, "Wait, I don't even have a core." Classic Brook, always finding a way to crack us up even in the middle of all the chaos. Nami, not missing a beat and completely done with Brook's endless jokes, quickly snaps, "Enough, Brook, shut up." It's moments like these that remind us why Brook's humor is the perfect balance to the action-packed intensity of One Piece. Then, after abusing Brook, Nami realizes it's time to make their escape. She quickly announces that it's time to run, and Usopp immediately agrees, seeing this as the perfect opportunity. Chopper, however, reminds the crew that they need to be careful with Robin and Stussy since they're still injured. It's Edison who steps in and mentions that they have stretchers available, and they can use them to carry the injured safely. Dr. Vegapunk on the other side, who monitors the situation on a screen. He sees Bonnie trying to hide from the Marines, her presence creating another layer of tension as the situation grows more critical. The scene shifts to Atlas, who's planning to go below and regain control of the Pacifistas. She knows that once the barrier is opened, the Pacifistas will attack. Just as she's about to act, Edison jumps in, agreeing with her plan. He remarks that there's no higher authority on the island than the Vegapunks, making it their responsibility to control the situation. As Atlas prepares to leave, Dr. Vegapunk stops her, telling her that he'll go with her instead. But before they can move, Usopp steps in and reminds Dr. Vegapunk directly that the Marines are planning to kill him, so going with Atlas isn't a good idea. They won't be able to protect him if things go wrong. Dr. Vegapunk turns his attention to the transponder snail, where Frankie is on the line. Frankie immediately asks if Bonnie is alright, then explains that she was kicked by Kizaru. Hearing this, Dr. Vegapunk becomes frustrated and asks why Frankie allowed her to be kicked in the first place. Frankie, regretful, quickly apologizes and promises that he will go and save her. The scene shifts to Sanji, the ever-dramatic Mr. Pervert himself, who's on the second floor of the building. He's absolutely furious, flames nearly bursting from him in his anger. His voice echoes as he holds the transponder snail, nearly overheating it with his rage. He shouts that he heard everything about Bonnie being kicked by Kizaru, and in true Sanji fashion, he vows to save her no matter what. Jinbei, alongside Sanji, chimes in, telling Dr. Vegapunk that they've secured his luggage. He suggests that they meet at the rear exit to proceed with their escape. The scene cuts back to Frankie and Lilith. Lilith, still in disbelief, expresses how she can't believe Luffy was able to launch the formidable Kizaru so far. Frankie, with a grin, responds confidently, saying that, of course, Luffy could do it, he'll never lose. Then, we move back to Bonnie, still hiding behind the bushes. She activates her devil fruit powers, turning into a child. She starts by hitting one Marine on the forehead, then quickly runs between the others, delivering sharp hits as she uses her ability to turn them into children and age them up. One of the Marines removes Bonnie's hood, then Bonnie jumps and swings a pipe and strikes him across the face. Then she back to her original size. As the Marines close in on her, she charges at them, smacking them one by one with swift, powerful strikes. One Marine attempts to grab Bonnie, but she swiftly transforms into a baby to free herself. Returning to her original size, she then smacks the Marines one by one, turning them into children and rapidly aging them. After Bonnie slips back into hiding, the Navy Marines notice a fallen Sentomaru lying unconscious after being defeated by Kizaru. Meanwhile, Bonnie pauses for a moment, listening closely. A flashback fills her mind. She remembers how Sentomaru caught her after Kizaru blasted her into the barrier. Man, Sentomaru is really tough, isn't he? After getting hit like that by Kizaru, it was like he took a direct shot from a nuclear bomb. Well, shout out to Sentomaru, let's hope he gets better soon. The scene cuts to the lava phase. Zoro demands that Mr. Leopard to stop hiding. In response, the Lucci speaks up, telling him to let them do their job, as this has nothing to do with him. As Rob Lucci starts moving around, Zoro, clearly irritated, warns him that even if he tries to hide, he'll still find him because of his animal stench. Just as Zoro prepares to attack, Lucci appears with a wide, menacing grin on his face, like a hungry leopard spotting its prey. Lucci leaps at Zoro, delivering a powerful kick, but Zoro dodges it effortlessly. Immediately, Lucci follows up with a clawed punch, which Zoro blocks with his swords. Lucci, smirking, exclaims, "Ain't no way!" as Zoro charges in with both swords drawn. Lucci deflects them with ease, then retaliates with another swift kick. Zoro blocks it, his resolve unwavering. Next, Lucci delivers a huge punch, and though Zoro blocks it, the force sends Zoro flying. As Zoro flies, Lucci jumps and goes in with an open palm claw strike, but Zoro blocks again. In an instant, Lucci activates his armament haki and claws at Zoro with full force. Zoro parries with both swords, and, channeling his captain's earlier move, he starts spinning Lucci around like a ragdoll, launching him into the ground with the force of a thrown bag of potatoes. Amid the chaos, Luffy, still in his Gear 5 form, suddenly appears on the scene. With a wide grin, he looks at Zoro and asks if he needs help, but Zoro, focused and determined, quickly responds, telling Luffy to leave him be and focus on Kizaru. Zoro advances toward Lucci, his gaze fierce as he mocks, asking if that's all Lucci has to offer. He confidently declares that there's no way Lucci can defeat Luffy. Lucci, unfazed, smirks and responds, acknowledging Zoro's strength. He adds that being the right-hand man of the Emperor of the Sea, defeating him would be quite the reward. The scene cuts back to a flying Kizaru still reeling after being tossed away by Luffy. Realizing he's about to fall into the sea, he quickly turns and redirects his light energy upwards, stabilizing himself in mid-air. With a flash of brilliance, he uses his Yakasani sacred jewel, creating light clones of himself. He sends them charging straight toward Luffy, who shouts, "What?" in disbelief. As the clones close in, Kizaru creates light swords, and his clones follow suit, slashing at Luffy with precision. In Gear 5, Luffy battles back, dodging and blocking the attacks. One of the clones lands a slash across Luffy's face, and in response, he whips out with a massive kick, sending shockwaves in every direction, blowing away the cloud of smoke and clearing the air. However, Luffy quickly realizes his attack was futile. It was just a holo. As Kizaru and his clones unleash finger laser beams, Luffy dodges, weaving around them with precision. Then, in an instant, Luffy transforms into a giant again. He attempts to whip the clones away, but they turn into light and effortlessly avoid his attacks. Luffy tries to grab them, but the clones leap onto his massive hand and charge straight at him. With a puff of air, Luffy fills his cheeks and blows them away, but the clones cling to each other and rush back toward him. As the clones swarm, Luffy stomps down with his giant foot, crushing them together. He pauses, then mutters, "Did I get the real one?" Then, Luffy suddenly realizes something. Kizaru is nowhere near him. Looking down, he spots Kizaru, who was holding Usopp by the mouth, holding him tightly. With a calm, almost casual tone, Kizaru questions Usopp and Brook, asking, "Where did Dr. Vegapunk go?" Just then, Dr. Vegapunk and Atlas burst through the glass, driving the Vega vehicle in full force. Luffy yells out, "Old Man Apple!" before Sanji charges in, shouting at Vegapunk and Atlas to let him in. Realizing where Dr. Vegapunk is, Kizaru immediately releases Usopp, turns, and aims a laser beam straight at the Vega vehicle. But before the attack hits, Luffy jumps in front and eats the entire laser beam. Well, turns out, Luffy really does love a good zap for breakfast. As Atlas and Sanji watch in shock, they both exclaim in disbelief. As the scene unfolds, Dr. Vegapunk calmly instructs Edison to partially deactivate the barrier so they can pass through. He adds that they'll reactivate it once they're safely outside. Below, the Marines spot Dr. Vegapunk and prepare to aim and shoot at him. Meanwhile, the Pacifistas take aim at the Vega vehicle. But just then, Atlas pops out of the balloon, shouting a new order to the Pacifistas. She commands them to wipe out all the Navy Marines on the island. Without hesitation, the Pacifistas begin targeting the Marines, their weapons locking onto their new targets. As it cuts to the final scene, we witness one of the legendary cold-blooded elders, one of the oldest monsters still walking this world, the so-called immortal Gorosei Saturn. He sits there in terrifying stillness, his mere presence bending the atmosphere like gravity itself. There was no music, no movement, just a cold, dead silence that gripped the entire island, the kind of silence that comes right before the universe itself holds its breath. This isn't just a man. It's a force of nature, a living nightmare, a being whose single move could change the fate of everyone on Egghead Island. Much like Thanos snapping his fingers when Saturn finally acts, it's not about who will survive, it's about who will be left standing at all. And that wraps up today's wild episode breakdown. From Luffy swinging Kizaru around like a ragdoll, to the Pacifistas turning on the Marines, and the Gorosei lurking in the shadows, Egghead Island has officially gone insane. With Dr. Vegapunk and Atlas making their daring move and Saturn just waiting to unleash hell, the next chapter is going to be even crazier. If you're hyped to see Gorosei Saturn finally throw hands, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the Hidden Arc, and join us for more epic adventures. Drop a comment and tell me who's taking the W, Luffy, the Gorosei, or pure chaos itself. Thanks for hanging out with me, Scotty, and remember, keep sailing wild and free on the Grand Line, right here on the Hidden Arc. Catch you next time, and remember, the One Piece is real.